Welcome back, everyone. In this video, we're going to be entering data for an individual data assessment. If you've not created an individual assessment yet, you're going to want to go out of this video and go to the one right above it on our page that says creating an individual assessment, because you need that assessment before we can do this step that we're doing next. Just as a reminder before we get started, you want to make sure that you are in as faculty, that you're on this default page, courses, and that it's the right term for whatever assessment that you created. So all of that is correct for me, and I'm going to scroll down here to English B1A, Section 6, and I'm going to enter my data for this Test 2. And if you take a look over here, you can see that you have this scorecard that looks a little bit like a piece of paper. That tells me it's an individual assessment. If you look at the one right above it, where you can kind of see it looks like little people right there, that is a collective data assessment. So that's not what we want today. We want this one, the individual data assessment. Before I go in, I just want to point out this 0 out of 23. That tells me that currently I have assessed 0 students and there are 23 students in the course. To get my little green check mark, kind of like what you see up here, that says I'm complete, that's going to need to say 23 out of 23. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And when I do, this is the screen, and this looks significantly different from our collective data assessment. You still have the same categories at the top: exceeds expectations, meets expectations, does not meet expectations, and then this NA. But instead of just saying the numbers for each of these categories, you're actually going to go along the side here and click on each individual student and say where they are across that spectrum. Now I have this blurred out just because we want to protect our students' data and information, but the student here that is in dark blue, that is the student I am currently assessing. The ones that have not been assessed yet, they're sort of a pale green color. So I'm going to go ahead with this first student, and I'm going to say this student exceeded expectations. Now I might have an essay or some other evidence that I want to upload here to show that, and you can do that if you would like. You just click on this and you'll get a box to upload a document. Or maybe I have some comments that I want to enter. I can do that as well. I click in this box and then I can type anything that I want to. If I feel like for myself, I just want to justify why that student is getting that spot on the rubric. Once I'm done and I'm happy with what I've entered for this one student, I'm going to click on Save and Next. And the student that I have already scored, that's going to be a light blue color. Again, the student that I'm currently scoring, that's dark blue. And I've now moved down a spot, and everyone else is in a pale green. So my next student does not meet expectations. I don't have any evidence to upload or comments that I want to enter. So again, I click Save and Next, and it moves on to my next student. This student dropped my class, so I'm going to put a check mark in the NA column because they were not assessed on this. And then I go to Save and Next. And I'm going to keep on like that throughout my whole class until I get all 23 of those students scored for this SLO. So I'm just going to very quickly, because I want you to see what happens when I get all of them scored, I'm going to go ahead and mark all of my students. And of course, making sure that I am putting the correct score on the rubric for each student. But I want to get all 23 done just so we can see that green check mark at the end. So this takes just a little bit longer than if you were doing it collectively. And I keep clicking through until I reach the end. And I can scroll down to see how many more I have to go. Just 2 more students. Okay, and now I have scored all of the students in my class. At this point, instead of hitting Save and Next, I want to hit Save and Continue to Reflection. I do want to point out that this button changed once I reached the last student in my list. Instead of Save and Next, it just says Save now. But we really want you to do that reflection. So we're going to say Save and Continue to Reflection. And you just fill out short answers for these 2 questions. You've probably seen them before on your collective assessments. But again, you have this reflect question. How did the data inform your teaching practice? What went well? What did not go well? What would you have done differently if you could? And then refine. What do you want to change? The activity, the timing, the SLO, etc. If you could just write a sentence or 2 for each of these boxes, it does not have to be a whole essay here, but a sentence or 2, and then please hit Submit and Share. And once I do that, it gives me an option. What do I want to do next? Do I want to go to responses? Do I want to see the Results Explorer so I can see what my results look like in graph form? Or do I just want to go back to courses, which is where we started? And now I have my green check mark. That is what you're looking for. And that's all you have to do to enter your individual assessment data.